We'll have a roll call by the county clerk.
We have 30 present and 0 absent.
Great. Everybody's here for the budget meeting tonight. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Fitzgerald, could you lead us tonight?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a brief moment to contemplate the meeting tonight. Please be seated. We are in compliance with the Open Meetings Law, Mr.
We're in
Fitz.
compliance, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. So moved by Supervisor Herbst, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Approval of the October 12th, 2021 meeting minutes.
So moved.
I move approval of the minutes as presented.
Any questions, additions, subtractions? Or second to that was Supervisor Schultz. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Approve the October 26th meeting minutes.
I move approval of the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Schultz. Questions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Communications, Treasurer's Report.
And then you also have the zoning committee notice of public hearing, which is November 18th at 7 p.m. right here in room 205.
Thank you. Number 9, special order of business, designation of Jefferson County as a Gold Star County in community health. Mr. Waymeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's some great partners in this room tonight that we want to acknowledge and recommend. For the second 3-year cycle in a row in one of the few counties and cities in the state of Wisconsin, Jefferson County has been designated a gold star level of community health. And that's not just done by one entity. Tonight, you're going to see many folks a part of that, from our hospital system to public health to human services to our parks to our treatment courts, and a whole bunch of other people in between to make this a great place for the quality of life and community going forward. So with that being said, I'm going to invite Mike Wallace, as the CEO of Fort Healthcare, up to talk a little bit more on it, and then we'll invite the rest of the partners, if you want to come up here, please, while Mike is talking, to come forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. It's my pleasure to be here this evening, representing Fort Healthcare, but more importantly, I'm just here representing the entire community. There's a lot of people. This is a team effort. I want to recognize Tracy from the hospital, Donna, Craig, Gail, Emmy, Kevin, and Kathy Colley. And there's a lot of other people that won't get recognized tonight, but this is truly a team effort. Getting this recognition is very affirming. Out of 72 counties, the first time we applied, 4 were awarded with gold status. This time, 5 counties out of 72 were awarded gold status. So collaboration is alive and well in Jefferson County, and I think this is a strong recognition for all of us collectively. We're really, I think any of us would say, we're just really a reflection of the people that live in Jefferson County. It was great to get the gold award the first time. Then the pandemic hit, and I think it was alive and well with the Jefferson County Task Force. We all rallied together to get us where we need to be. We still have a little ways to go, but I'm convinced we wouldn't be where we are today without the collective spirit that we have here. So I really just want to say thank you to all of you. It's gives me a lot of confidence in my position when I look at the challenges that we have in front of us. I'm very optimistic because we ask, people come together, we rally together, we take care of what's going on as I move around the state and in some of my circle of influence, people wonder what's going on in Jefferson County, and they mean it in a good way. How did we get to do what we're doing in terms of improving health and well-being in our communities? How did we get our gold status? We love to share that story, and I know my colleagues also get a lot of the same questions about how we were able to pull this off. And I said it's just the spirit of who we are, in collectively. So, as head of the healthcare system, we focus on healthcare, but I can tell you, much the future of healthcare is going to be focused more on public health and prevention and wellness. And so, I think again we are well positioned to have an even brighter future, and I think our best days are still in front of us. So, on behalf of everyone, I want to say thank you. I know Gail wants to say a few words also, but if I can get off script a little bit, I do, on behalf of Fort Healthcare and so many of my colleagues, want to recognize Gail Scott for her longstanding impact on our community. Her accomplishments are too numerous to even become close to identifying for all of you, but I will suffice to say that public health and healthcare in Jefferson County are better because you chose to spend your time and talents with us, Gail. So for that, I say thank you very much. Well done. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Boy, I didn't think I was going to cry tonight. Thank you, Mike. Feeling is mutual. A few years ago, I wish I could remember how many, I went to the then county administrator, Bill Housen. I'm sure a lot of you remember Bill. And I very timidly asked him if the county would donate part of our clinic space in the evening for a free clinic that we were going to set up with Fort Healthcare, Watertown Regional Medical Center, and a whole lot of volunteers. And I was really surprised at his answer. He said, Gail, if you get this off the ground and you get this clinic started, it will be the highlight of your career. And if you know Mr. Housen, he wasn't one to really compliment you a whole lot or get real personal, at least not with me. And we did get it off the ground. And we got it off the ground because of Fort Healthcare and all the partners that worked with us. And that led to a dental clinic and 2 other clinics now, one in Watertown, one in Whitewater. And we hope that it will survive for a long time to meet the needs of those in Jefferson County who need health care. I would just like to thank everybody during the pandemic who helped us out. And we could not have done it without Donna Holgum, our emergency management director, our parks director, Amy Listel, Kevin Weissman. Oh, no, you're the parks director. Oops. And Amy Listel, the fair park director, and everybody else. We had 500 people that helped us at our mass clinics to get the COVID-19 vaccine out. 500 people. And just amazing. And early on in the pandemic, we had the state come and visit us. And just like Mike said, they came to talk to us because they said, how are you doing this? Jefferson County, for such a small county, you guys are just rock stars. And I said, it's because we know each other, and in a way we love each other, not to get sappy. We care about the residents, and we respect each other, and we respect the residents. So we tried to do the best we could, just like I've tried for 40 years, and I could not have done it. Emmy Reiner is my public health nurse who heads the Drug Free Coalition. That was one of the initiatives. Kevin, of course, with Parks was 2 of the initiatives we wrote for, and he helped us very much. Craig Holler with the Drug and Alcohol Treatment Court, and of course Donna, and then Tracy Wilson. She will be very humble, but she is the one that led this effort and did all the hard work. She emailed me and said, well, it's time to reapply. And I said, Tracy, I'm in the middle of a pandemic and I really can't help you. So I said I can edit it and I can write a little bit about county leadership. And then I emailed Emmy and I said, Emmy, would you help Tracy? And she said, of course I will. And that's my staff. That's why we're so successful. Nobody ever says, no, that's not my job, and nobody in the county ever does either. And we've had great support from Ben Waymeyer all along, and the county board, Steve, Amy, everybody who's stepped up to the plate and helped us. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm talking so long, but I guarantee you this is the last time I will be talking to you, unless I decide to run for the county board, but probably not. So thank you for all your support over the 40 years, and thanks. We look forward to our partnerships continuing in the future, and I know they will. I know that the county will be in great hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Takes us to item number 10, public comment. Is there any public comment concerning the board tonight? I see none. We will proceed to annual reports. Veteran Service, Ms. Diesterhafe.
Good evening. Most of you know me. I'm Yvonne Diesterhaft. I'm the County Veteran Service Officer. I've been in this position since February 14th of 2007. It's just astounding how fast almost 15 years goes by. My report is at your desk. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to highlight a few things and answer any questions that people might have at the end. I want you to know how much economic impact comes into this county through veterans. This year, well, 2020, the last year that the federal government has reported on, $45 million of either direct compensation, disability compensation, or medical pension benefits came into this county. And that, interestingly, is up 118% from where it was a decade ago. The small investment that you make in our office, my office consists of myself and my Deputy Veteran Service Officer, Jean Osman, who's been with us for 12 years. And we did have, until last year, a 19-hour-a-week clerk, Bill Yankee, who many of you remember and may know that he passed away literally while he was scanning files in from his home in the end of December of 2019, not COVID related. But then it's just been Jean and I in the office trying to serve the many, many veterans that and their families that rely on our office to help them navigate the bureaucracy of both the federal VA hospitals as well as applying for benefits. We're so grateful that in this budget that I hope will be passed tonight includes, for the first time, since I've been in office, the second full-time position. So it always has been that we've had the CVSO, the deputy CVSO, a veterans benefits specialist, and then a clerk. When I came, I had a secretary who was under the veterans benefits label. We defunded that position and funded the deputy position because we were giving him more responsibility. The veterans benefits specialist position has been unfunded for the since 2011. And we are so grateful that that position will be filled coming up starting in January of next year. That is going to allow me to step back a little bit from some of the everyday clients and emergencies that come into our office. We are seeing an uptick in homelessness. That particular category takes a lot of time to help people through that bump in the road. But I'm really looking forward to digging in and making use of our veterans, Jefferson County Veterans Foundation. That's this document that you have, and this is just a rough overview of what we were thinking about when we created that 501c3 to address some root cause problems that we see veterans having. I don't want to take up a lot of your time tonight. I do have a prize for you tonight. You will all be getting one of these fabulous pens that have our email addresses, phone numbers, and fax numbers, because I hereby deputize each and every one of you as part of our marketing committee. Of course, I double your commission on every veteran you send our way, and as I often tell every veteran who comes into our office, you won't get rich because our commission is 0. So every time you double it, it's still 0. But by telling people about the services that we provide here in Jefferson County, you will change lives. Are there any questions? Yes, Dick.
Not really a question, but I did want to make a comment. I'm sure most of the board remembers a year and a half ago, when the Vietnam Veterans Chapter 409 presented Yvonne with a plaque.
A highlight in my career.
Well, so when that idea first came up at our chapter meeting, virtually every head in the room was going, yes, agreeing. Since then, I've heard one story after another about Yvonne and her staff going the extra yard, working a little bit later hours, not just 9 to 5, because to help the veterans that couldn't quite make it during normal work hours, and how much she and her staff work well beyond the pale. And so I really wanted to mention this. And Yvonne, as everybody knows, I served a year in Vietnam, and since I came home, about 1,000 times I've had somebody go, "Thank you for your service." I would like to take this opportunity to Yvonne to say to you, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Dick. That's very kind. Any other
questions for Yvonne?
Comments? I have an hour-long presentation ready if you would like it. Would you like to hear about presumptive conditions for every era of service? I could tell you about Agent Orange presumptives. Those are conditions that are related to exposure to Agent Orange. Would you like to talk about burn pits and the fact that all of the veterans who served in the Gulf are now eligible presumptively, meaning automatically, to be service connected for respiratory conditions that have been caused by the fact that as a regular practice, we burned everything in war zones. We could talk about the water contamination at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, which is causing a number of different cancers, including kidney cancer, esophageal cancer in not only veterans, but their spouses. The fact that ALS is a presumptive condition, meaning automatically service connected for anyone who was ever in the military. So if you know a widow of somebody that died of ALS, you could whisper in their ear for them to call us, because you would make a huge difference if they don't know that little piece of information. There's a lot that we can do for people, but if people don't know to come to see us, and I have people every week that have missed out on benefits or are being surprised by the fact that they are eligible for these kinds of benefits. So I'm very grateful for your time tonight, and I certainly invite each and every one of you to come and stop and see us. Our office is next door, and I will be passing out your pens momentarily. Yes, sir. Yes, you may. Only every other year, though. The VA does provide free glasses. I'm not going to say they're the most fantastic selection, but they're certainly better than the ones they offered me when I was in the Air Force. Those were all one kind. The black, what they called the black birth control glasses, and they did what? They're brown. The Army had brown. I'm sure they work the same. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yvonne. And then we have the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Milbroth. He does have an hour presentation.
Good evening. It's kind of funny, just out of curiosity, I have to myself here. Um, for those of you that may have been here many years ago, like 19, because this is my 19th time doing this, I was probably a lot more nervous than either that or the board was a lot scarier. I'm not sure, but um, uh, it is kind of an enjoyable task to get to do this before you. One of the things that I find somewhat Yvonne, just as long as you remember, we don't budget for a lot of pens, so if you want to put one down for me, that'd be fine. I like to pick them up wherever we can. It's been enjoyable. I think you've heard a number of department heads speak on this, but we are truly fortunate as a county. We have a great working relationship with our corp counsel, with our administrator, our HR department. Terry's not here, so make sure you grease her up for that for me, that I said something nice. Never like those opportunities missed when people let them know they may owe you something because you were nice to them. But to be honest with you, we are so fortunate in this community. Kathy Cawley in our Human Services Department is just awesome. We were talking about the nursing staff and Gail Scott. For years, the jail ran with county nurses in the jail. An awesome program. Due to insurance problems and the high cost, we had to eliminate that program and contract. But they provided a valuable service for many, many years, and I greatly appreciate all their efforts. If there's any questions that you've had on the report, please feel free to ask. If you don't want to ask here, give me a call. I know you've had it about 5 months now, so you probably have it memorized. Some of you probably have already tossed it. I can't remember where it is even anymore. Just a couple of real quick highlights. This last year was really a trying year for a lot of reasons. And COVID really stretched the limits of a lot of things. But we had a lot to be happy for. Everybody pulled together countywide, and it was really a pretty amazing thing. And I just want to acknowledge a few people. Both Amy Hagee and Bill Dandoy, two of our deputies, won the individual CIT awards for two separate incidents and responding to some critical incidents that they made a huge impact on these people's lives. Detective Gary Wilkie was named Jefferson County Chiefs and Sheriffs Association Officer of the Year for his life-saving efforts on operating boat patrol. Brenda Neatardy of the Sheriff's Office won Support Service Person of the Year, and Deputy Jason Beam won the President's Award for his efforts in trying to rescue a deputy during an active shooter situation where he put his life in grave danger. As I sat there through that presentation, I was able to hand out Amy's award, but I sat there just thinking, wow, these are all Sheriff's Department deputies. These are my people. I was pretty impressed and quite humbled by that fact. Again, pulling together, it was pretty amazing. The courts worked with us. Jefferson County is one of the only jails that had 0 incidents of COVID for inmates. The staff worked extremely diligently. Mr. Waymire worked with us, helped us get a disinfecting type machine. It's called a Skytron. Machine works awesome. We've actually had other agencies bring their squad cars in if they had someone with COVID-related issues or other medical issues that need that vehicle sanitized. We were able to bring it over to the courthouse, special courtrooms, literally sanitize these rooms, and it helped keep our staff on duty. So I greatly admire all the work they did, but it was really something pretty commendable. Under the CARES Act, we were able to pick up a body scanner. That body scanner has eliminated a lot of drugs trying to be secreted and hidden and brought into the jail. It's amazing once they know they're going through the body scanner, how many times we find stuff sitting under the body scanner, or they'll just come right out and say, okay, you're going to find it anyway. So those are some really good things, but that's because we're fortunate to have good people working with us. 2022, A lot of issues that we're hoping that we can address. You talked about some of them tonight with the building project. Mental health is a huge issue. Kathy Cawley can attest to that. The jail has had more suicide attempts in the first 6 months of this year than probably in the last 6 years. This isn't just Jefferson County, this is statewide. A lot of mental health issues, people having difficulty coping with a lot of things, and part of the issue with the new building project is more holding cells so that we can actually do better observation for suicidal subjects, getting them the help they need, but also the people that are in our custody that are coming off of drugs that we're trying to monitor to make sure we can keep them safe while they're here. One other issue that is something that we spoke of tonight on the building project, Mr. Waymeyer spoke vaguely of it, or generally, but the idea of take-home squads. We used take-home squads during the pandemic portion of this when we were splitting up shifts, trying to make sure we didn't lose our entire staff should we have a COVID outbreak. It worked out fairly well. One of the big hopes is the potential money savings. Every time we have to trade out a squad, we have to refurbish it. Dave is old enough, I hate to say that, Dave, but he remembers the Crown Victorias. A Crown Victoria I could move from all the insides of one squad, from the lights and everything else, into the new squad. I can't do that with any squad we now get. They change them each and every time, so every piece of equipment on that squad car has to be bought new. So we are hoping that by trying to pilot this program in Jefferson County again, that we can actually see a cost savings, because we probably run our squads a good 40,000 to 60,000 miles more than any other agency in the state. They were quite surprised. That being said, having a mechanic on board helps make that possible. So things are taken care of quickly, and it is a huge cost savings. You've heard a lot about it. You spent a fair amount of money on it at this point. Ben and I continue to have discussions. I just had a discussion with Blair this afternoon regarding this. The countywide communications project. It is moving forward. You probably haven't heard a lot about any issues or anything going on with it. That's a good thing. When you don't hear about something, it's probably moving in the right direction. You usually only hear when things are going bad. We've had great success working with Bertram Communications. Ben reached out and we were able to work together in partnerships with the private sector, and that saved the county significant dollars. Hopefully that project is done in the spring, and we're up and running by spring of 2022. 2022 will provide a few other issues. Those of you that have been here a while, remember that this building was built about 25 or 30 years ago, and we hired a lot of new deputies to man it. They're all at that age that they're starting to say it's time to retire. So they'll be moving on, and we'll probably be looking at hiring another 10 to 12 people through retirements alone next year. Those of you that are aware, the hiring process is a rather painful process at this point, trying to find quality candidates. So far, we've been able to find some very, very good people that want to work for Jefferson County. So I do consider myself fortunate. One thing we will continue to do, we will continue to strive hard to deal with the traffic enforcement issues of this county. One of the biggest things we hear constantly is that bad driving, speeding, complaints throughout the county. Another bad issue of COVID is people forgot how to drive. And it's a fact, it's a nationwide fact. Driving and aggressive driving, just bad driving and speed increased dramatically. And it's something we're really seeing. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it. I don't want to keep any more time because I know you've been here early tonight and you probably want to get home at some point a little earlier than later. And you're going to be voting on my budget tonight, so I'd like to keep you happy.
Any questions for the sheriff? Any questions for the sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Supervisor Morris.
Man, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Paul also receive an award recently?
That would be in this year's report, so you can be all excited about that next year.
Just want to make sure credit goes to whom credit is due.
Well, thank you very much.
Sheriff's being a little humble at the National Sheriff's Association. He received a national award, and I think we got some press coverage for him with that too. But basically, Sheriff of the Year for his endeavors of what he's done for traffic enforcement and safety in Jefferson County. It was recognized at the national level. So kudos to my friend, the sheriff.
Congratulations, Paul. Any questions for Sheriff Milbroth?
Thank you.
Make sure he gets enough pens there. Thank you, Yvonne. Takes us to item 12, Executive Committee. Supervisor Renard.
Resolution number 2021-43, adopting the Jefferson County Board Final Supervisory District Plan. Following the release of census data every 10 years, each level of government is required to utilize the data to review its population changes and adjust boundaries of representative districts. In Wisconsin, there are specific statutory requirements on how this process is implemented, with counties having a significant role in the process. This includes the following: development of a tentative supervisory district plan followed by a public hearing and approved by the county board. Collaboration between the county and local municipalities, the cities, towns, and villages to create or adjust ward boundaries based on the county tentative plan where applicable, and the creation of a final supervisory district plan followed by a public hearing and adoption by the county board. The executive committee has been designated by the county board of supervisors as the county redistricting committee for purposes of providing policy guidance and oversight for the county's redistricting process for 2021. Staff involved in this process include the county clerk, county administrator, corporation counsel, planning and zoning director, and land information office. This resolution formally adopts the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors Supervisory District Plan. The Executive Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 5th, 2021, and recommended forwarding to the County Board to formally adopt the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors Supervisor District Plan. I move approval of this resolution.
Discussion. Questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a amendment to the resolution, and I don't know if Mr. Waymeyer, can you show this on the screen? It's a bit of a tweak involving district number 15, just north of the city of Lake Mills. So I move to amend the proposed supervisory district plan to move 109 people from Supervisory District 2 to District 15. The proposed amendment includes the islands located within the town of Lake Mills and surrounded by the city of Lake Mills on the north side of the city. The change is in the area of County Road V, County Road B, and State Road 89, and includes the truck stop, gas station, and hotel north of 94, and the residential area between Rock Lake and the Lake Mills Market. Staff have prepared an updated map number 1 and table number 1, which include this proposed amendment. On the second page of map 1 is a close-up map of the city of Lake Mills with this area circled in red and shows the area becoming part of District 15. This proposed amendment reduces the deviation of District 15 and brings it closer to the ideal population number, which is 2830. This amendment also creates uniformity in this area by the location of all within District 15, rather than splitting it into 2 supervisory districts. Mr. Chair, I move for approval of this amendment.
Do I have a second for the approval of that amendment?
Second.
Supervisor Nealon, okay. And we have another amendment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Uh,
Mr. Chair. Yep.
Mr. Point of order, should we do one amendment at a time? We can do two at a time. Okay. We can do, I just want to know if we had a vote on one amendment first, but we can do both of them at the same time. Go ahead, Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, sir. I move to a motion to amend the supervisory district plan in my district number 11 to move 143 people from the supervisory district number 3 to district number 11. The proposed amendment includes the area between Interstate 94 and Emerald Drive and west of Switsky Road. This area includes the Deer Track Park landfill and areas west within the town of Farmington. Whoops, thank you. It was very important to, and I apologize to the board that I didn't see this the other day, is the Deer Park landfill is right on the edge of 94. And when I saw a clearer map yesterday morning, I brought it to the attention of my township chair, and we realized that the Deer Park landfill has a long relationship with District 11, and that area is contiguous with the rest of what is District 11 currently. So taking it away would put another supervisor into that, into the board over at Farmington Township. I have a letter from the town chair, Kevin Emrath, and it reads this: the town of Farmington is requesting the waste management Deer Track Park landfill be part of supervisory district number 11, which would be where most of the township voters reside. Hopefully this can be amended from the original plan. And so I request that this amendment be approved.
Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Renard. Discussion, questions? Supervisor Schultz.
Yeah, just a quick question on the first, not Supervisor Johns, but Supervisor Renard.
Looking at the mic, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh,
Supervisor
okay.
Schultz.
What is the reason for the proposed? Did I miss that or?
This was a little bit of an issue that came up at the last executive committee meeting, and maybe I'll let Mr. Waymeyer explain how this all happened. It was brought to our attention by Chair Nass because he's currently representing District Number 15.
And can you just clarify what the question was there, Supervisor Schultz?
Just what is the reason for the proposed amendment?
While the executive committee was reviewing the maps, they noticed that these so-called islands, not technically islands, but little islands in this general area were with District 2, and they thought that the area would be better utilized under District 15. They're currently under District 15, and as you can kind of see on the map, all of that area is under District 15, so it's creating a portion of this area that was in District 2. So when we originally created the maps at the staff level, they were kept in District 15. The town of Lake Mills then requested that they move to District 2 to even out their ward boundaries. But after further discussion with the town of Lake Mills over the last couple of days, they don't have any conflicts or reasons why they should not be moved, and they agree with this proposed change. The town of Lake Mills is meeting tonight to also reapprove their town ward plan based on this change or proposed amendment.
Thank you.
Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that these two amendments have the blessing and approval of the mapping team and Matt and so on, that they've taken a look at them. They're okay with that.
Yes, both of these proposed amendments make the populations closer to the ideal, even out the percent deviations. So from a strictly mapping perspective, they align better with the overall county plan and reduce deviation.
Thank you.
Somebody else had their hand up here. Supervisor Winnicky.
I did, but basically what Matt said was what I wanted to say is that among the other, all the issues they pointed out are true, but also the deviation is better with this. 15 had a greater deviation, and this helps tighten that up a little bit.
Supervisor Renard.
Just on that point, the executive committee also signed off on the change to District 15, providing that the town also approved it. So we were fine with it if the town was fine with it, and then it turned out the town was cool with it too. So we're cool.
Any other questions or comments? We act on the amendments first. I'll entertain a motion to approve the two amendments.
Together?
Oh, we already did. Okay.
Oh, we didn't vote on.
Okay, we'll do Supervisor Johns first. All in favor of the amendment to District number 11, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that amendment's approved. And to Supervisor Renard's amendment for District 15, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. With those two amendments approved, we'll approve the main resolution here of adopting the new maps. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the new maps are approved. Thank you. Takes us to the Finance Committee.
Yeah.
Supervisor Jones.
Thank you. All right, we have the motion and the second. We had no amendments turned in from county board, but also at this time, the members of the county board are allowed to make amendments from the floor. So are there any amendments from county board supervisors at this time from the floor?
Amendments. Any amendments to the budget? Seeing none?
All right, well, thank you. I also then move to divide the question on the countywide and non-countywide levy budgets.
I need a second to that. Just discussion? All in favor of dividing the question? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none? Supervisor Jones.
All right, thank you. Before I read the resolutions adopting the budget, I would just like to make a couple comments. I would just like to say that I believe that this budget is a very positive budget, not only for the 2022, but into the future. It was possible to raise wages for our staff, which will help in hiring and retention. We added positions such as in human services to meet the increasing need for help with the increased rise in substance abuse and problems with mental health. We had excellent cooperation and discussion with department heads over their short and long-term needs. We kept our different financial buckets intact for contingency or a rainy day, all this being done by actually lowering the mill rate. I would also like to thank Mr. Waymeyer, Mr. DeVries, and their staffs, department heads, who were very cooperative and very interesting, and members of the Finance Committee for all their hard work and time. Resolution number 2021-44. Resolution establishing non-countywide levies for health and library services. Whereas the non-countywide budget for 2022 containing total department appropriation and levies is apportioned to the municipalities benefiting from the services furnished. And be it further resolved that the requirement established by Jefferson County's fund balance policy to retain 2 months of current year budgeted expenditures in the health department fund balance is hereby suspended for the 2022 budget year, and that the health department's ending fund balance shall not be budgeted at an amount less than 1 month of the current year's budgeted expenditures. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the sum listed below be levied upon all property in Jefferson County that is taxable for the purposes listed. Health Department, $892,942. Library Services, $1,156,411.
Be it further resolved that the above amounts be apportioned to equalized values as established by the State Department of Revenue. Fiscal note, the health mill rate is 0.1226 and the library mill rate is 0.28010 per $1,000 of equalized value. In 2021, the health mill rate was 0.1292 and the library mill rate was 0.2974 for decreases of 0.0066 and 0.0173 in the health and library mill rates respectively. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Jekyll. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none,
I believe we need a roll call on this.
we will have a roll call vote on this resolution.
Supervisor Coots? Supervisor Payne?
Yeah, my tablet's not.
Supervisor Morris? Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Nass?
Yes.
Supervisor Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor David?
No.
Supervisor Paulson? Supervisor Schultz?
Yes.
We have 29 yes and 1 no.
Thank you. Supervisor Jones.
Resolution number 2021-45. Resolution establishing countywide levy and fees. Whereas the proposed 2022 county budget was submitted to the board by the county administrator on October 12, 2021, and whereas the proposed 2022 county budget was the subject of a public hearing on October 26, 2021, and whereas the board has considered all amendments, now therefore it be resolved that the authorized positions, the total appropriation for each governmental function is shown below. Fund balance application assignments in the recommended budget book and the levy contained in the countywide portion of the 2022 budget be levied as a county tax to be raised on the 2021 tax roll as follow. Fiscal note. As presented, the countywide levy is proposed for $31,392,300. So let me start over. $31,392,371, which is a mill rate of $3.3342 for general operations and .04369 for debt service fund for a total of $3.7711 per $1,000 of taxable value. In 2021, the countywide levy was $29,051,683 with the general operation mill rate of $3.5344 and debt service mill rate of .1953 for a decrease of .2001 per $1,000 of taxable value for the 2022 general operations and an increase of .2416 per 1,000 per taxable value for 2022 debt service. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
I have a second.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Jekyll. Discussion, questions? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Kelly?
Aye.
Supervisor David?
No.
Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Morris? Supervisor Nass?
Yes.
Supervisor Coots? We have 29 yes and 1 no.
Thank you very much. The resolution passed, the budget passes. Takes us to Finance Committee, Supervisor Jones, item D.
Resolution number 2021-46, accepting the Qualified Treatment Trainees Grant at the Human Service Department and amending the 2021 and 2022 budgets. Jefferson County Human Service Department was recently awarded a grant from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater to hire and support postgraduate qualified treatment trainees. Qualified treatment trainees are graduate students at an accredited institution enrolled in psychology, counseling, marriage and family therapy, social work, nursing, or closely related field. The Qualified Treatment Trainee Grants Program is intended to increase the number of highly qualified treatment trainee positions available to postgraduate trainees across Wisconsin. This grant program operates on the assumption that clinical skills developed through supervision by trained supervisors working with an agency that embraces the additional responsibilities and best practices in supervision. The program also provides additional professional support staff for the Human Service Department. On November 4th, 2021, the Finance Committee reviewed the request from the Human Service Director and recommended forwarding this resolution to the County Board to accept the grant funding of $20,000 and create a budget amendment for 2021 and 2022 to hire and support postgraduate qualified treatment trainees. Fiscal note, the visionary program to address DMC grant funding is available to be used November 10th, 2021 to May 31, 2022. The Jefferson County will receive reimbursement for costs incurred during that time. Please see the attached budget adjustment or amendment request form for the proposed adjustments to the 2021 budget and 2022 budget. This is a budget amendment. County Board approval requires a 2/3 vote of the entire membership of the County Board, 20 votes of the 30-member County Board. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Coots. Discussion, questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Supervisor Kelly?
Aye.
Supervisor David? Supervisor David? Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Morris? Supervisor Nass?
Yes.
Supervisor David? Supervisor Coots? Supervisor David? We have 29 yes and 1 abstain.
Thank you. And the resolution passes. Not to be outdone, item 14, Supervisor Jones.
Resolution number 2021-47, authorizing state human service contracts, consortium agreements, and professional service and care provider contracts. The Jefferson County Human Service Department contracts with state agencies, consortiums in excess of 100 professional service and care providers to fulfill its statutory duties. Each year, contracts are renewed and or updated with additional providers. State law requires county board approval of the state contracts set forth in this resolution. The contracts have not been reproduced and attached to this resolution because they total more than 100 pages. The Wisconsin County Human Service Association negotiates the basic agreements on behalf of the counties, which are standard state forms and are not subject to negotiation by individual counties. The professional service and care provider contract list for 2022 is attached. These provider contracts are reviewed by the Jefferson County Corporation Council to ensure compliance with the county's purchasing ordinance and contain the language and terms set forth by the State of Wisconsin Department of Health Service Purchases of Care Services Guide in Section 46.036 of Wisconsin statutes. The Human Service Board considered this resolution at its October 12, 2021 meeting and recommended forward to the County Board to approve entering into professional service and care provider contracts with the providers on the attached list and entering into state contracts and consortium agreements as set forth below for 2022. Fiscal note, the cost associated with these state contracts has been included in the appropriation of the 2022 budget. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
I have a second. Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Schultz. Discussion, questions? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, resolution passes. Item 15, Supervisor Johns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2021-48, entering into a contract with K&L Engineering Services for construction and administration and oversight of the Jefferson County Interurban Trail Project Phase 2. The Jefferson County Parks Department is in the process of constructing a recreation trail for hiking, biking, and cross-country skiing on utility right-of-way owned by We Energies. The proposed trail is 10.96 miles and is located in the former interurban rail line between the city of Watertown and the city of Oconomowoc. The path cross-section will consist of a 10-foot wide asphalt surface with 2-foot wide aggregate shoulders, an 8-inch stone base with 3.5-inch asphalt layer will be used. The project is located primarily in Jefferson County with 10 miles of trail and a portion in Waukesha County with 1 mile of trail. The city of Watertown and the city of Oconomowoc are the project boundaries. Funding and support for this project has been approved by the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors on multiple occasions. Phase 1 of the project has been completed and the county will be soliciting bids for the construction of Phase 2. Phase 2 of the trail includes a 4.7-mile section from River Road to County Road Highway F near Ixonia and is being funded by a Transportation Alternatives grant from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, a Wisconsin DNR stewardship grant, and the funds from Jefferson County. K&L Engineering was provided project design for Phase 1 of the trail and is close to finalizing the engineering and construction documents for Phase 2 in preparation for construction, which is scheduled to begin in April of 2022. Due to the reporting and compliance requirements of the Transportation Alternatives Program Grant and K&L Engineering's expertise and knowledge of the project, the Jefferson County Parks Department requested a proposal from K&L Engineering for construction oversight on the project to commence once a contractor has been selected. The Jefferson County Parks Committee has reviewed the proposal by K&L Engineering to provide these services and determined that it would be in the best interest of Jefferson County to continue to utilize the services of KL Engineering through completion of Phase 2 to provide construction oversight. This resolution authorizes the county administrator to extend the contract with KL Engineering for the purpose of construction oversight on Phase 2 of the Interurban Trail Project. The Parks Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 1st, 2021, and recommended forwarding to the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. Fiscal note: the cost of this contract is $74,610. This amount is currently budgeted in the account 12810.594821.28101. Any portion of this cost not spent during 2021 will be carried forward into the 2022 budget. I move to approve this.
Have a second.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Christensen. Questions? Supervisor Brogler.
Just to remind me, how many more phases and when's the proposed finished
There are
product?
3 phases to this trail. 3. And be patient. It's going to be a heck of a trail. So, yeah, 3 phases. I think it'll be completely finished by 2023.
Right now, all that's dependent on availability of funds and resources.
Right. Yep. No microphone.
So phase 2 is scheduled to be completed next year in 2022, which would take the trail from Watertown to Ixonia. Phase 3, we've been in the initial phases of starting to collect some initial data, budgets, starting to go through the process of looking at additional grant funds as we've done through this whole process, and we'll start that process coming up. We also need to get some agreements in place with Waukesha County, City of Oconomowoc, as we progress with this as well. So there's a couple of things we need to get to before we jump into the funding for phase 3. But by the end of next year, we'll have just over 7 miles of trail from Watertown to Ixonia.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other questions? Any other questions concerning this resolution? Take a roll call vote for this.
Supervisor Kelly,
Aye.
Supervisor David,
Aye.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Morris,
Aye.
Supervisor Nass,
Yes.
Supervisor Coots. We have 30 yes and 0 no.
Thank you. Takes us to item number 16, Planning and Zoning Committee. Supervisor Jacob.
Report to the honorable members of Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. The Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee, having considered petitions to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, filed for public hearing held on October 21st, 2021, as required by law pursuant to the Wisconsin statutes. Notice thereof having been given and being duly advised of the wishes of the town boards and persons in the areas affected, hereby makes following recommendations. Approval of petitions as listed. On to ordinance number 20, dated this day, let me finish that. Sorry, Blaine. This 25th day of October 2021, Blaine Paulson, Secretary. Ordinance number 2021-13, amending the official zoning map of Jefferson County as listed. I move for adoption of the ordinance.
Second by Supervisor Paulson. Questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Waymeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. By the authority of virtue of the authority vested in me in section 59.18, parent 2, parent B of the Wisconsin statute, I respectfully request a confirmation of the following appointments. Ms. Linda Auger of Jefferson, Wisconsin, the Bridges Library System Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2024. Ms. Barbara Beaver of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, the Jefferson County Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2024. And Mr. Timothy Semmel of Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, the Jefferson County Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2024. I respectfully request confirmation of these appointments.
So moved by Supervisor Brogler, a second by Supervisor Morris. Questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none. They are approved. And appointments to the Human Services Board.
By virtue of the authority vested in the Human Service Board under Section 3.06 Sub 1 Sub G of the County Board Rules, the Human Service Board hereby requests County Board's confirmation of the following appointments. Carol O'Neill, Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, to Age and Disability Resource Center Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending July 1, 2024. and Barbara Schmidt, Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, to the Nutrition Project Council for a 3-year term ending November 13th, 2024. Mr. Chair, I move for approval of these confirmations.
Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Brockler. Questions? Comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Takes us to public comment of a general nature. Is there any public comment of a general nature? Supervisor Smith?
I can't be trusted by the door, so I'll just do it from here.
So I just want to make sure that you understand that you address the whole board tonight, not individual supervisors,
I understand.
and that no questions can be answered since it's not in the agenda.
I understand. So I'm just continuing my rant from the last week for the LNGs. Cleveland, 1944, with a 20,000-gallon tank, it explodes. There's 128 people dead. A tidal wave of fire that covers more than a square mile, and the fire was stopped by a river. Cove Point, Maryland, 1979, an explosion was caused by a design defect in a pump, and I think it only killed one person. In the last decade, we've had 22 reported incidences to the government. An incident requires over $50,000 in damage. A company that owned 2 tanks in Plymouth, Washington, had multiple incidences with 5 deaths and 22 injuries in the prior 3 years to an accident that they had in 2014. The LNG industry has a long history of inaccurate, misleading, and false information and reports. Plymouth, Washington in 2014, during routine maintenance, when something wasn't vented properly, the resulting explosion punctured both the inner and outer tank walls, and over 24 hours leaked over 600,000 gallons of liquid natural gas, resulting in $69 million in damage. But the accident was not listed as a spill since natural gas evaporates. The only thing that stopped another 3 to 4 million gallons from leaking out was an employee who broke the law going in and stopping it. They had rolling explosions that could be felt for 6 miles. 2 years after the accident, the only thing reported to the public was they had improper use of equipment. I might have made a math error when I said there was 1 billion cubic feet of gas in there. I don't think I converted gallons to square feet. And I believe the number is probably closer to 57 billion cubic feet of gas there. But the fact remains we made our decision without having a clue how much gas is really in that tank or what the potential damage might occur to the surrounding area. I had a chance to talk with a fire chief who's familiar with the LNG tank, and asked him what other potential disasters exist in Jefferson County. And he said next to the tank, it's airplanes falling out of the sky in tornadoes. So I think it's safe to say that this board has created one of the largest potential man-made disasters in Jefferson County. Thank you.
Any other public comment of a general nature? Seeing none, announcements? Any announcements? Just a reminder of the Building and Grounds Committee meeting on November 17th, if folks want to attend that and keep updated as to our building project, which takes us to a special order of business, convene in closed session pursuant to section 19.85 Wisconsin State statutes for deliberating and negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business. Whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session and pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent G, Wisconsin statutes confer with legal counsel concerning strategy to be adopted by Jefferson County with respect to litigation, which is or is likely to become involved for the purpose of discussion on entering into a financial settlement with opioid manufacturers and distributors, with formal action be taken at the December 14th County Board meeting. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. So moved by Supervisor Backlund. Do I have a second from Supervisor Christensen? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Point of order, doesn't it require a roll call to go into closed session? It does in committee.
Yes, you are correct. Yes, it's a roll call vote, but before that roll call vote, we have a quick announcement from Ms. Diesterhaft.
So I realized after I handed out the pens and I grabbed them out of Jean's, got them organized in the office, and I grabbed them out of the wrong box. So you get 2 pens tonight, and you just have to remember that the other pen is got the wrong prefix on the fax number. And I'm sorry for everyone that thought I was carrying chocolate.
Thank you, Yvonne. We'll have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Kelly?
Aye.
Supervisor David?
Yes.
Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Morris? Supervisor Nass?
Yes.
Supervisor Coots? Supervisor Drana? Supervisor Backlund? Supervisor Kennard? Supervisor Felker?
Yes.
Supervisor Nealon?
We are in closed session. Supervisor Jones can get, oh, we got the door, okay. Mr. Waymeyer.
Just for the record, the attendees, Anita D. and Karen Pugh, we had to put, ask you to be removed from this at this point in time because this is a closed session. So I'll be removing you.